Could it be morally wrong to use drugs, illegal drugs that is, like marijuana, cocaine, heroin, things like that? It seems like it could. Somebody could ruin their life, basically, by using drugs, abusing drugs. And they might look back, if they survive, and think that was a really bad choice. I did something that was morally wrong to myself, and I affected other people negatively also. So, drug use could be morally wrong. Is it always wrong? No. Why is that? People sometimes use drugs in minimal ways, small ways, safer ways, and they don't ruin their lives. So drug use isn't always morally wrong. Should drug use be punished? Should people be sent to prison for using drugs? Some people say, yeah. If you ask them why, they'll say things like this, typically. Look, drug use is dangerous. You might ruin your life if you use drugs. You might lose all your money if you use drugs. You might alienate your family if you use drugs. You might lose your job. You might die. So they'll point to all these potential consequences of using drugs and say it's because of that that drug users should be punished. So one thing to think about, though, is, well, what if somebody just was like that or did all that in another way? What if somebody did something unsafe? What if somebody did something that resulted in them losing all their money? What if somebody alienated themselves from their friends and family? What if somebody, basically did all these sorts of things that people say might happen if you use drugs? Should that person be put in prison for doing all that? Seems like no. So given that, it makes no sense to say drug users should be imprisoned for potentially doing that, doing these things that could result in their lives and other people's lives going badly in various ways. If you shouldn't be imprisoned for doing those things in the first place. So, in short, the sort of main arguments in favor of imprisoning drug users don't seem to be very good. There's a positive argument in favor of drug use, which says you have a right to your life. You have a right to your body. And if you have all that, you have a right to your mind. And if you have a right to your mind, you have the right to alter your states of consciousness. So you would have a right to use drugs. Now, this right would be, say, a moral right, a natural right, not a legal right. But it says you have the right to use drugs. So if you look at the arguments against drug use in terms of arguments in favor of imprisoning drug users, they don't seem to be so good. And there's this positive argument: the drug users have the moral right to use drugs. It's a complicated issue, but this is a start.